welcome to another episode of Stacking M's. I'm Tara Payton, marketing consultant and business coach. And you know we focus here on marketing, money, and mindset. And I have a very special guest today, Ariane Turner. And she is the CEO of Look Good, Live Well. And we're going to get all into what that is, what that means, and kind of the vision that she has for her brand. So first, let's jump right into that.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
I love it.
Seriously. So tell us who you are, how you got into beauty.
Wow, that's a long story, literally. A 20-year story. Like you said, I now have a skincare line, but my journey in beauty has been, oh my God, ever since I was in high school. It's always been something that I was interested in. It was my hustle through college. It was the way that I paid for school.
What were you doing, faces?
Yeah, I decided that I would be an out-of-state resident. I had plans to go to school here in Atlanta, and then at the last minute decided I wanted to go to FAMU. Best decision I ever made.
HBCU in the building. Go Morgan State. Go Bears.
Yes. So I made the decision to go to school out of state, and so about after a year, my parents were like, "Yeah, that tuition is kicking," and so
they're private too, right?
And so I got a job at a makeup counter, and had always just been interested in playing around with it, but that's where I really learned and honed my craft. And that was how I paid for school. That was my little hustle. And when I graduated and moved back home, I graduated with a degree in industrial psychology. So I always loved business, but more so the psychology of business, how to keep employees happy, how to keep everybody motivated, right? Investing in people was always really important to me, but also making them beautiful. Yeah. And so I decided that I wanted to continue in that field of makeup artistry. I tried to do both for a little bit, and then during the recession, I think it was 2006. Yeah.
07, 08.
Yeah, around that time. My daughter was very young. I had her in 05, and I was working in HR. I left makeup because I was like, okay, I got this kid. I need benefits. I can't just be out here winging it with clients. It's time to get serious and get a job. So I would still do weddings and stuff on the weekend, but I was primarily focused on HR. And when the recession happened, I was required to it was my job to call and do these mass layoffs. I was firing like hundreds of grown men over the phone at the same time, and just would hear them sob. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be on the other end of this phone call ever. So in the middle of the recession, I made a really scary decision. And I was like, I'm quitting. I'm going to quit my corporate job, and I'm going to just pursue my career in makeup. And so I was living, of course, here in Atlanta at the time. And I thought that the only way that I could have a consistent career in makeup was to work for CNN. And at the time, to do that, you had to be a licensed cosmetologist, because you had to do both hair and makeup. So I went to school. I completely had to downsize my life, like, not even downsize. Like, I got kicked out of my apartment. I had to move back in with my parents, like with a small child now. But I told them I got a plan. Like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to get this license. I'm going to work at this job. It's going to be great. Just trust me. And my parents have been so good, so supportive. So whatever crazy ride I take them on, they're always down for it. So I did. And when I was in cosmetology school, I studied full aesthetics, so hair, skin, and nails. And that's where my passion for skin was kind of birthed from that experience. And of course, as luck would have it, I graduated from cosmetology school and never I never got hired at CNN. They never called me. Y'all never called me back. It's all right, though. It worked for the best. But I ended up meeting someone who was working for Tyler Perry Studios at the time. And so then that began a career in film and television. And it literally started and did not stop. Like, for 12 years, it was consistent, hard. My passion for skincare was kind of fueled there because from a makeup artist perspective, my work was only as good as my talent skin. So it didn't matter how wonderful I did makeup. If their skin was suffering, then my job wasn't going to look good, and I wasn't about to let that happen. So I really began to dig deep and try to understand the science behind skin, because it was never about a product. It was like, what ingredient can I use to help, get her wonderful results? What's going to clear her skin up? At the same time, while I was working on set, the hours are brutal. So I was working between, 16, 18 plus hours a day. I was never saying no to craft services. So I was eating all the snacks. I wasn't moving my body. Like I completely forgot every wellness practice I ever had established. And so my skin reflected that. So at the same time, I'm trying to save my talent skin. I'm trying to save my own. And so in between projects, that's when Look Good, Live Well was born. And then in the pandemic, at the top of the pandemic, like right away, production, as everything, the whole world shut down, but film and television did as well. And we knew that going back, it would never, ever look the same. We didn't know what the COVID protocols would be at the time, but we just knew it was going to be completely different. By that time, I had already hit burnout a few times, and I realized burnout isn't something that you manage through a moment of self-care. Like burnout is the effect. What was the cause? The cause was these extreme working conditions, the hours, all of that. And that's not something that I could change. And so I decided to press play and go full throttle with my skincare line. So I took my little stimulus check and I invested it in myself. And I was like, I don't know when this is gonna, when this side of the world is gonna ever open up again. But for right now, luckily I had done all of the groundwork. So I had worked with my chemist. I had gotten the formulations that I wanted, but I thought I had so much time on my side. So I was really playing around with it. But in March, when that pandemic happened, I was like, I got this kid who's now 16. I was like, I got this full adult who's getting ready to go to college soon. I got to make something shake for her. So that's when I really put a full emphasis on that.
So you said a lot, and I'm going to try to get to all of it. But first of all, 16-year-old where?
Yes, I'm 40. I'm 40.
If y'all could see my producer's face right now, she's
like
legit. Okay. You are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Definitely, this is why skincare is important.
Skincare
so we're going to get into that, right? And all of the things outside of just, your skincare routine, like what that actually means. It's not just products. But I promise I'm going to get there. Okay, I had to acknowledge that. Second thing, you talked about, leaving your job, having to move back in with your parents, with a child, right? As you weren't an entrepreneur at the time, but I would love if you were open to sharing, like, what was your mindset around that time? How were you feeling? What was your thought process?
I felt like, and I told my parents, like, we just got to stay down until we come up. Like, I always knew that for me, taking a step back, like getting evicted was never the plan. Like I never wanted to get evicted. So of course, like I was trying to hustle and make it happen and connect the dots financially, but I just was strapped. And so I knew that it wasn't going to work out. I knew I wasn't going to make the rent. So before they put me out, I was like, let me just hurry up and get out of this place. And so when I proposed the idea to my parents, like I need to move back in, but it'll be for just this amount of time. I always knew that even taking that step back, because now I'm an adult. Now I'm, 27-ish with a kid. So all of my friends are married. They are working in their fields. And I am the girl that is in cosmetology school and I'm working in the mall. I was working at MAC at the makeup counter. And so I would come in and service my friends like in their corporate job. And so I think one time I felt away, like a little bit embarrassed. But I think other than that, I really did have full confidence in myself. Like I knew that something was gonna pop off and I was doing what I love. Like I really loved creating. And so I never doubted my ability to create.
Where did you get that confidence from?
I don't know.
Have you always had it?
I think so. I think that's something that was instilled in me from my parents and my grandmother, and I think it was definitely a very spiritual thing, like just believing that God is in me and not an external force or some higher power that I have to pray for or pray to and then wait for some blessing to drop down. I always was taught to trust the God in me, that God is with me, God is in me, and because of that there's literally nothing that I can't do. And I have a very supportive and open and honest and transparent family. So we have always talked about our lows, but also talked about our highs. So I had a lot of examples of people that did it. My dad worked in entertainment for my whole life. Like, he still does. And so several other family members, my aunts, they've all been entrepreneurs. And so I had living, breathing examples of people who were able to pivot on the drop of a dime. So it was never a question like, I wonder if this will work. Like, and then I got this kid. So it was like, it has to work. I'll do whatever it takes. If it was me, I might have been a little bit more lax. But my daughter definitely put a different battery in my bag. Like, we got to make it work.
So how now are you imparting this confidence in your daughter? Especially because, you know, we grew up in a different time, right? Less social media, less influences and things like that. How are you making sure that your daughter has that confidence at she's 16? That's a pivotal age.
So same thing, like really talking to her, making sure that she's got that spiritual foundation. That was very important to me. We recently had a conversation because for a long time, she really wanted to go into nursing. She really thought that she wanted to be a nurse. And so I, of course, supported her through that. This year, she got into a business class. I won't even say randomly, but she was placed in this class and she wasn't supposed to be there because she's supposed to be along the healthcare track, but she's in this marketing class and she's killing it, like almost 100. So I'm like, is this teacher not giving her hard work? Like, what's up? So I reach out to the teacher and she's like, no, your daughter is just really good at this. So I talked to her and I'm like, yo, what's up with this class? Like, you're kind of killing it. And she's like, it's so fun. And she just lights up in a different way. So I'm like, that feeling that you have, that ease, like, settle into the ease. Like, life doesn't have to be hard. I know you. Why do you want to be a nurse? Right. So she's like, I want to be a travel nurse because I want to travel and I want to help people. And I'm like, baby girl, there's a lot of ways that you can do that, right? People. You can do that. You don't have to be a nurse, but this is something that comes to you natural. So I say all that to say, I really, she's been around for the entire journey, clearly, and I'm very honest with her about the highs as well as the lows, and she understands like those periods of transition. Right now I'm in one because I just decided like officially to walk away from film and television in that capacity. Like, I'm not showing back up on set ever like as a makeup artist again. And I'm like, we're stepping out on faith. But what that looks like is every day I'm not just sitting around like, oh, I hope something works. No, I've got a schedule and I manage my time and I'm nurturing these relationships. So I make her a part of those conversations so that she can see what that looks like. So hopefully she learns to trust her gut, trust her intuition, and, make solid choices, but also to push those boundaries. Like, you don't know what you got in you until you test it. You got to test the limits a little bit. So
I love that. And I love that she was randomly put into a marketing class.
Me too. And it's doing so good. So now she's like, because I was like, everybody I know went to college and changed their major. And you may do that too. You may go and change. You may get the degree and decide you never want to work in that field, but don't be afraid to change. Don't ever stay in a situation longer than necessary because you feel like you had a time commitment. Right. That's prison. Right. That's like being in jail.
Right.
Time served.
Basically.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Absolutely not.
No.
So, all right, let's talk about Look Good, Live Well. Tell us a little bit more about, you talked to us about doing, makeup on set and things like that. And that was a part of the inspiration for Look Good, Live Well. Yeah. Did anything else inspire the brand?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So while I was working on the brand at home, again, now we're in the pandemic, I needed to make some money. My unemployment was like messed up. And so I'm like, I got to keep the money coming in. And so I started to, I always had a very strong and familial presence on social media. So it's not abnormal for me to like to have full conversations in my DMs. Like, I am friends with a lot of people that follow me, or, I hate even saying the word follow, but I've made really real connections with the individuals that are on my page. And so I always was very open about my skin and whatever I was dealing with, whether it was acne or hyperpigmentation. And so I created space for other people to do the same. And so I decided to do virtual skincare consultation. So I would meet with people online and they would send me like a profile ahead of time. I would do research on their skin, and then we would have conversations about we would sit down for a consultation, and I would walk through their diet, their lifestyle, their home, like how often you change your air filters, do you have plants, like all of these things that really do play a factor in our skin. And so we would talk about all of those things, and then I would write them up a almost a prescription of products that they needed to get. And so what I was doing without even knowing it was market research.
Absolutely.
So I realized, okay, I've talked to 500 women now, like within a matter of a couple of months, and I know their greatest concern is hyperpigmentation. So it wasn't a question when I was thinking about my line, do I launch a serum? No, I launched the treatment product that addresses that.
Right.
So by then, unknowingly, I had already warmed up the audience. I already found out what they needed. And so now I already had done the work on the back end to have the products produced. It was a full line, but I decided what to release first as a result of those conversations that we had.
How important was that market research to you? Because some people aren't even willing to get on a phone call to thank a customer for making a purchase, right? And so one of the things that I talk about a lot with my clients and my students, and one of the first things you do inside of Position to Profit is you put together a customer survey, right?
Yes.
If you're not going to talk to people, at least you put together a survey, get that feedback, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all caught it. She said she spoke to 500 women and it helped inform how she went to market.
Seriously, because I literally was like, I need a 5-step line. I do have one, but they weren't asking for that. They weren't asking for a cleanser. They were asking for, what do I do for this acne? I've got maskne now. I've never had this in my life. What is this? And now I have these dark spots. What do I do? So I sold that product first, and then after that, they were like, well, what do I do next? Like, what's the next step after I rinse the mask off? I'm like, okay, I got you. Now you do this. And that was a way for me to introduce the entire line. But yeah, I think as creatives, it's easy to keep creating. Like, that's the easy part, to stay in that zone. Just keep making up stuff. But stepping outside of myself and listening to what people want. And it's something I have to check myself all the time. Like, I'm big on sustainability and saving the planet and the environment and recycling. And that is something that I want to, that I am infusing into my line. But I had to pause because I'm going through a rebrand, and I'm like talking to one of my mentors. I'm like, I want to do all glass packaging. And I was just like, your customers didn't ask for that. Like, they don't care about that right now. Give them a commitment, your sustainability commitment, what you plan to do over the next several years. Take that money and invest in, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so smart. I never asked people if they cared about recycling or if they even recycle their products. That's just me. Right. So I think you're absolutely right. Like, checking in with your customers, having those conversations and finding out what matters to them and what they want. It sounds so simple, but people don't do it.
So I'm going to switch slight gears here a little bit. So as far as the business is concerned, when you think about how you decided to grow your brand, how you decided to go to market, how you decided to launch, you did it a little differently, right? So you've gone after grants. You've won a huge grant, right? What was the thought process behind building your business using other people's money?
At first, honestly, it wasn't my choice. It was not my choice. I really just planned to. I knew that I didn't want to take out debt. And so I was prepared to just bootstrap the entire way. And so what that essentially means is the income that came in, I would tuck, some away, of course, for savings. I would just reinvest, though, every single thing. Like, I'm not going to draw a payroll. I'm just going to keep flipping. I told myself I'm going to flip this money until I can't, anymore. And so this grant opportunity appeared in my DMs 3 times from different people. And on the last day of the grant application, like within hours of it being due, somebody else sent it to me, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then it required a video, and I was like, oh, I don't want to record a video. I just got off work. I look ugly.
I was about to say, you probably had to get your face together.
I didn't even bother. I did it in a hoodie.
See, those are the best.
It was the best. I did it in my hoodie, which I'm always in a hoodie when I'm working. So I did it in my sweatshirt, and I did it, and I killed it, and I got accepted as a finalist for the grant. And that enough, I was like, oh my God, I can't even believe they picked me, that they sought me out. But I'm like, wow, this is amazing. We do the pitch day. I had never pitched a day in my life. I wasn't prepared to pitch. But as you know, luck would have it, as God would have it, rather, I was working on a film project and we were shut down for quarantine. So I had 2 solid weeks to prepare. So I just immersed myself in it.
Timing was like
timing is divine.
Aligned,
It
right?
was. So I spent every day like looking up pitch competitions online, and I was like, this is boring. Like they felt like robots. Like, hello, I'm so and so with blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, y'all are whack. I'm not doing mine this way. So we had the run through, and we all had to like rehearse our pitch, and I was shook. I couldn't remember anything, and everybody else they had done it so many times. I could tell that I was like, God, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I was like, what I have is personality. Like I know that I have personality. I don't mind talking to people. I love connecting with people. So I was like, I just got to figure out a way to make that connection happen. So we pitched. We were supposed to find out the results in 20 minutes. It ended up taking so long, like over an hour. And I was like, ooh, this must be a hard deliberation. And so we come back, they announced the winner, and it wasn't me. So I didn't win. And so I'm like, dang, okay. But the sister that did win was so bomb. I wasn't even mad about it.
Nice.
I was just like, of course it's her. Like she had a plan for the money. Like she already had, proven traction in the market. Just she checked every box. So she absolutely should have won. And so then they're like, but there was another company that just really blew us away, and we really want to make the commitment and we really want to invest. So I was like, wow, this is nice. So at this time, I'm thinking, this could be me. Like, I feel like they're talking about me.
They're talking about me?
This could be me. But I never thought that, I thought that I was going to win, like, some mentoring sessions. Because we all got, one mentoring session. The grand prize winner got multiple. So I was like, I'll get, she won $100,000. So I was like, I'll get maybe 10 or 5 or 1,000, and I'll get some mentoring calls. They said that I won $100,000. So I lose it. I'm like, rah! Like I'm screaming. My daughter runs downstairs. Like,
and this was all on Zoom, right?
Yeah,
it was
so
like
I'm
a Zoom thing.
Literally knocking things over. I'm a mess. Like I couldn't believe it. Like you guys gave me $100,000 grant. Like you're not asking for any equity, which I wouldn't have done anyway. Like if it was a pitch where they would have wanted some equity, absolutely not. Like my company's too young to be giving any bit of it away. So I knew not to do that, but I'm like, y'all giving me $100,000 like scot free? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was so grateful, and it literally was like answered prayers.
Now, what did you use the money for, or what are you using the money for?
Some of it I use for, which I told them, like, one thing that was really important to me was rebranding and being able to connect with and work with women or freelancers, women of color that were freelancers. So I had a really bomb social media person helping me out, just finding weak spots in my business, things I wasn't good at that I needed help with, and being able to contract others to pop in. And then, like I said, I'm doing a rebrand with an amazing, Black woman-led company, and they are killing it. So I cannot wait for that to launch at the top of next year. So yeah, and then the rest just sitting there, just waiting until, I don't know, until something. But what it really has also allowed me to do is create some space and some breathing room with my company. So I didn't feel the pressure of, okay, I gotta return to set. It's like, no, I have a little bit of room where I can take a few months off to just create and just focus and operate in my zone of genius. So
2 years from now, where is Look Good, Live Well?
Look Good, Live Well is going to be on the shelves of Sephora. Okay. Maybe Nordstrom's. We got to see like what this retail market is looking like. I definitely want to continue to expand my D2C, which is direct to consumer. So building up my online presence. But yeah, I definitely see her in retail. I see her as a global, not just skincare. It's a lifestyle brand, essentially. Skincare just happened to be the first thing that I launched from it. So I see a full spectrum of amazing products.
So let's talk a little bit about skincare. Yes. Because I'm sure there are some people that are watching this that may be struggling. Some folks who, may have that maskne, the hyperpigmentation. I know you can't do a custom consult, right? But like, what are some things that everyone should do as a part of their skincare routine?
Easy. So one thing that sets Look Good, Live Well apart from any other skincare line on the market is that not only do we believe in non-toxic ingredients, but we use non-toxic language when we're talking about our customers. So I think that we all have gravitated to and understand the concept of positive thinking, the importance and power in our words and affirmations. But that's something that I don't feel like has trickled down to the beauty industry. So I hate when I see words, even as simple as anti-aging. Like, why don't we want to age? What's the alternative? I don't want the alternative. I want to age. We want to do so gracefully, right? But and specifically as a Black woman, a lot of the conditions that we have with our skin, hyperpigmentation specifically, it's like we got to banish those dark spots. We have to, and it puts this, it presents this energy that makes us feel like we have to take a very aggressive approach with our skin. And so we reach for acids that are going to burn, or we want to do the strongest thing because we are so frustrated. But when you step back and you think about it, when you learn, because nobody just randomly thinks about it, but when you have an opportunity to be educated, like, a line like mine, you realize that the hyperpigmentation is your body's natural response to inflammation. So for whatever reason, whether it be stress, diet, genetics, whatever it is, your body experienced some level of inflammation and you had a breakout. Your body, in trying to heal and protect you, sends all of this melanin up to try to cover up that spot. So that's what is left behind. That's the hyperpigmentation. So it's like, damn, my body was trying to help me. My body was trying to heal me. Why am I going to war with it? So the entire line is just about celebrating what the body does naturally, understanding. It's a huge component of education. So educating the consumer on what is happening with their body, and then just really encouraging them to take a more gentle approach. So all of the products are focused on increasing hydration in the skin, because water is seriously the cure-all for everything.
It sure is.
So increasing hydration and reducing hyperpigmentation. But like I said, we do it with non-toxic ingredients and non-toxic products, or non-toxic language. So the number one step is to make peace with your skin, with your body, with your changes. If you're experiencing some, like I said, I'm 40, my friends are 40, so we're starting to see fine lines and wrinkles. Instead,
I don't see no fine lines and wrinkles.
Some of us are. Some people I know are. I'm not there yet, but kind of just accepting what your body does, understanding why it's doing it, and supporting, approaching your skincare from a position of, I'm supporting what my body is trying to do naturally. It just needs a little bit of help in some areas. You see beautiful results, like beautiful, beautiful results.
I never thought of, especially coming from the beauty industry, I never thought of how harsh the language was until you just said, like anti-aging, and let's banish this, and let's erase this.
It's stubborn acne. It's problematic skin. It's, if you want good skin, so you do this. Some people just have a genetic predisposition for acne. And then also, it's telling you whenever you have a breakout. I always tell my customers, there's no such thing as a random breakout. You didn't just break out randomly. So my daughter is like in tune. So I'm like, what's up? How you doing today? I had a breakout on my forehead. I think it was because I ate X, Y, and Z, or I had my scarf tied too tight. You're absolutely right. So when we break out in different areas, it is indicative of something that's going on internally. So instead of it being a moment for us to reach outside of ourselves to find a solution, even though I sell products, I still encourage my customers to go inward. Are you stressed out? Are you eating well? Because when you say hormones, people always think estrogen or testosterone, but cortisol, the stress hormone. We are in a pandemic. Things are crazy.
Everybody's
right?
cortisol is probably like through the roof.
Right. So some of it is masking, but some of it is, this is the area that's associated with your hormones. And so this is going to be the area where you're breaking out. So that some of it is masking, some of it is just stress. So I can give you these good products to use, but also, what are you doing to manage your stress? So it's wonderful to be able to have those types of conversations with customers.
I love that. And your customers can get a consultation as well as purchase the
At
product.
one point in time, they could. So the consultations are on pause.
Oh,
never
mind. They on pause.
They're on pause. But maybe by the time this airs, it'll be opened up.
Maybe by the time, she's going to have a team of people to do the consultations.
Because I would become really involved. Like, I want to know how I would get really, really involved and very specific. And so I just didn't have the time for it. And I wasn't doing my customers, my clients justice. And so I took a step back so that I could come back in a way that really serve them. And so,
So you talked a lot about affirmations, about being gentle to ourselves, and spirituality as well, right?
Yeah.
I would love to know how does that influence not only your business but also your life?
Ooh. I think I would love to say I'm my biggest hype woman. I got a very strong and supportive tribe. But I really speak positive things over myself every day. And journaling is something that's really big. That's like a huge factor in my, what I call my wellness toolkit. And so I write things down, and I'm able to go back and look at, like when things are low, I'm able to go back and be like, damn, that happened. I don't even know when it happened. I don't even remember, but that happens. Or this was small to me and now that's not even a big deal. Or just being able to go back and look at those wins, those things keep me going. But yeah, staying self-motivated in this space, and then who you surround yourself with. Like I've intentionally positioned myself with other founders, other entrepreneurs who are a few steps ahead of me, who can, coach me and put me up on game. And then some people that are, not where I am quite yet. And I can, teach them what I've learned and motivate and encourage them. And so having that healthy dialogue, it encourages me and it challenges me in really beautiful ways.
So I can't end the podcast without asking you this question.
I don't want this to end.
Oh, we can keep going.
Okay.
What are we talking about, girl?
All the things.
Listen, let's talk about all the things.
All of
We're
it.
going to do a spiritual retreat that helps heal your skin,
I
right?
do that.
All of it. Yes.
I want to do it.
Like, let's get into that.
That sounds fantastic.
I need you to plan it, though, or your team can plan it.
Okay.
I'll show up.
I know a team that'll plan it, yeah.
Okay, well, let's do it. Like, when we doing this?
Let's go.
But this question it's fun. So, for the podcast, we focus on marketing, money, and mindset. I feel like we've touched all of the topics here with you today. So my question for you is, on each one, I want you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
So your marketing.
So 10 being what?
10 being amazing, excellent. 1 being is in the ghetto.
This rebrand is a 12.
Oh, it's a 12?
Yeah.
Okay, turn up.
It's bomb. It's so good. I'm so
Wait,
proud.
don't tell us yet. Don't tell us yet.
Okay,
it's a 12?
It's so good. It's so good. I got my mood board back the other day, and I shared it with a friend, and she was like, this doesn't even look like a skincare brand. I'm like, perfect.
Yes.
We nailed it.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to look like anybody else.
Yes.
I don't want customers to see and feel that. Like, I really want to create a vibe, and we have done that. Like, I want people to feel joy when they see my products, when they see the marketing collateral. I grew up in the era of videos, like video vixens and like videos being highly produced. So marketing from that perspective is something that I'm really invested in, and so I'm excited.
The visuals are very important.
Visuals are.
Yes, I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited too.
Girl. All right, so on the money scale of 1 to 10.
What do you mean? Like how I'm doing with it?
How you doing with it? However you see the money.
I feel like money is a 7. I'll honestly say a 7. I feel good about money. I feel good about how I've raised money. I feel very good and confident with how I've scaled so far. But this is my new baby, and I never want to overspend. I think that there is a little bit of fear mixed in with my hesitancy.
Are you working with anything to help you manage the money?
Yes.
For the business?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. But I think that how I manage money in my regular life is really different from how I manage my business's money. Like,
how is it different?
As Ariane treats herself. She believes in luxury. She works hard and she plays hard. She gets a coin. She's going to put some away. But I definitely enjoy the fruits of my labor. With my business, I am very tight. I am very, very, very tight. Like, the budget is very strict, and this year, I like the past several months, I've really learned the importance of and the benefit of hiring help.
Yes.
Because I was just trying to be cheap and just trying to do everything on my own, and it showed.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would try to cut corners, and so learning when to spend, why to spend, has been something that's new to me. And you know, having trusted advisors is so clutch with that. Like reaching out to people that you can be transparent with. I don't know what I'm doing with this. I got this chunk of money. I don't want to mess it up. Help me do right by this. So being able to be honest about where you are financially has been a big revelation for me.
And then what about the mindset? Scale of 1 to 10.
10.
Okay.
I feel good. I spend a lot of time like really working on my mindset. I check in with myself often. I know when I'm low. I don't feel uncomfortable communicating that. Like I feel really good about asking for help. I feel really good about, you know, celebrating when I need to celebrate. And then, like I said, saying like, okay, right now I don't have it figured out. Or I texted a friend the other day. I had this huge like on-air opportunity, and it freaked me all the way out. And I was like, I want to go out the back door. Like, I just don't know if anybody will notice. I'm freaking out. I am dying right now. And she's like, okay, chill. But I think creating space and being able to get it out and not just chugging through like everything is good. Everything is fine. That positivity, false positivity culture, I think is very toxic. I think it's important to acknowledge wherever you are. And acknowledge the emotion. And I think that it doesn't mean an absence of faith, or, you know, you're not being aligned. I don't believe any of those things, but I think that when I'm able to say I'm feeling really low, like I'm scared, I don't know what to do, that's an opportunity for me to get that assist from God. Like, yo, I'm tapping in.
Right.
I know we're always here in step, rocking together, but right now, please, like, I need this to be all you, because I ain't got it. So I really do believe that, in my weakness and in my moments of transparency, I'm made stronger through God. And so
I love that. And, you know, speaking about transparency, you know, one of the things, like, this podcast scared the hell out of me. Just recording it, reaching out to people, getting guests and things like that. So I'm becoming more open to being more vulnerable about saying, okay, I'm scared.
Yes.
Or, you know, I need support in asking. Yeah. But when you say it, like you said, you're vocalizing it, you get so much in return.
Yes.
You get way more than you expected the return to be just by being vulnerable and upfront and honest. So I love that you share that.
Absolutely right. And you're doing it. You're killing it.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
We in the streets. So another question about mindset. I don't want to let this slip through. What were some of the things that helped you get to a 10? First of all, have you always been at a 10?
No.
Okay.
I think that I struggled with, I definitely have ADHD. So my mind is like, I tried to explain it to a friend. She's like, what is that like? I'm like, imagine like your headphones before everybody went to AirPods. Like when you would reach for your headphones, it was like that jumbled up cord. And so you're trying to get it straight and untie the knot. So kind of organizing my thoughts has always been necessary for me, like writing down a list and just being able to see things out and checking in with myself. I think depression is very real. It's definitely something that I have visited and have experienced at multiple points in my life. And then for the first time since launching this, and honestly, it came after I won that money, I had like severe performance anxiety.
Wow.
Like I was scared to spend, I was scared to talk, I was scared to do anything because I didn't want to mess it up. And although it didn't come with any obligation, I didn't have to do anything for the money at all. But I just was so afraid of disappointing the investors and disappointing my community and just anybody attached to me. Like I did not want to just completely mess it up. And so I was frozen and I didn't do anything. I didn't create anything, like no content.
For
like
how
I
long?
didn't, oh my God, probably for like at least a month. Like I was just shook. Like I don't want to do it. And then I was like, okay, I know somebody needs to be on the social media page. So then I hired somebody else. But I think like you said, like vocalizing it, like there's so much power in our words and what we say. And so being able to communicate that with someone and with multiple someones, and it's like the more that you say it, the smaller it gets. Like you realize like, okay, this is a small thing. And most importantly, there's a solution to this. So my mindset, understanding that, you know, depression is a very real thing that I deal with. And so it's something that I have to manage. So checking in with myself often, leaning deep into my spiritual practice is so important to me. And that can range from, you know, everything from literally praying to, you know, watching a sermon that I like, or going for a hike, connecting with nature. Like that's a huge part of my spiritual practice. Exploring different wellness modalities, like what works for me. Yoga's not it for me. Yeah. Like that's not my thing, but sound baths are. So just understanding all of those things. Books. I love a book. I love a good book. I love a good podcast.
Paper or like iPad. Okay.
Paper, because I gotta write notes.
Paper.
I gotta write notes.
I'm just checking.
I gotta fold my pages. I gotta highlight. I love my books. So all of those things, like really to kind of fill in those gaps, to keep my mindset clear, and then honestly honoring wherever I am in that moment, and not feeling like I gotta push through to get to the other side. It's like if I'm feeling afraid, it's like, okay, let's sit with it for a second. Why? You know, that doesn't mean like it's not a good mindset day, or you don't have faith or whatever. It's just you feeling low,
right?
And you're allowed that grace, right? Yeah, experience it, feel it, and then figure out a way to connect with whatever is on the other side, because whatever's on the other side is always greater than where you are in the moment, right? So it's like, okay, I'm at this show, I gotta go live. I'm scared. I don't feel, I'm having serious imposter syndrome, but on the other side, I know it's gonna feel so good to have it completed, right? And I know that it's going to open up so many other opportunities. Let me get there. Let me do what's necessary to get to that spot.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about these nails, because we're nail girls.
We are.
But we got the plainest nails ever, like in life. I don't do solids. So I saw that you did a solid like red. And I was like, oh, wait, I did solids. I got 2 colors.
I love
But still, like, how much do you love nails? Like, that was
These are like my tools. As a makeup artist, I always was like, we were trained to wear all black always, and, kind of trained to, you're the background, you're the help. Like, you set the stage for the talent to go on and look great, and it's not about you. So, my nails, like, have always been an extension of my creative side. Yes. So, like, in high school, they were long and neon green, like very Coco from SWV inspired. I'm dating myself again, but it was always that, like always a lot of extra, and I loved it.
I'm trying to remember the first time I fell in love with nails, and as you mentioned Coco from SWV, I'm thinking back to what was the Flojo? I had her Barbie doll
with those nails.
And the Barbie doll had the nails, and I think that's when I fell in love with nails.
Me too.
But my parents really wouldn't let me get them, and then I started getting acrylics in high school, and I rocked out for a minute, but then my nails were trash.
Yeah.
And now we have our own nails. We grew them out, girl.
Yes.
And we have healthier ways to get tips and stuff. But yeah, like nails I'm just thinking that was so long ago.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. It was a really long time ago. I love it. And I especially like thinking about Flojo. Like, she was working in a field. She was running track, where traditionally you would, have very short nails. And not because anybody dictated it, but just because that was the norm. I love that. Yes. She pushed the boundaries, and she stayed true to herself. And that was her way to express herself, and she rocks with it, and I love that.
I love that too. So this is probably the simplest you'll see our nails. Next time they're gonna have designs and swirls and colors and mix and match. I've done lots. I love doing that on my nails.
Me too.
Okay, I love that. And I need to know who your girl is down here, so when I'm here I could.
Oh yeah, because she's bomb.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she's bomb. You're in good hands.
Well, listen, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Have me back.
Absolutely, girl. We can do a part 2. We can talk about a whole nother topic. Like, we can absolutely do it.
I love it.
Let the people know where they can find you and where they can shop your products. Are your products still available for sale during the rebrand?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, smart.
So products are still available for sale. If you're in Atlanta, you can visit my retail location. I have a setup inside of the Village Retail, which is upstairs in Ponce City Market. Of course, you can shop my website, which is just www.lookgoodlivewell.com. I am on social media platforms. It's my name, Ariane Turner, ARIANE.TURNER. Like I said, it goes down in my DMs. Not in the ways that I would like.
Not like that. Fellas, back up. Like,
actually,
respectfully go in the DMs, please. Thank you.
Yeah, come respectfully, but I love people and I love connecting with them. I love a voice note, probably these days more than a text.
Those are so
They are.
easy.
So I'm like
yes.
quick to call somebody or quick to send a little voice note, but I love connecting about all things health, wellness, and beauty. So yeah,
love it.
I would love to stay connected.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. They're just making that first purchase and they never come back, then you have a customer retention problem.